What if the very institution we trust to protect us is, in fact, the coldest of all monsters? What if the state, far from being the people's servant, is a force that devours life itself? In the chapter titled The New Idol from Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Friedrich Nietzsche confronts the idea of the modern state as a new form of idol worship, a chilling entity that replaces peoples and cultures with a mechanical, soulless master. Written in the late 1880s during Nietzsche's most mature and bitterly critical phase, this chapter exposes the state not as a source of unity, but as a destroyer of individual creativity and vitality. Nietzsche's Zarathustra warns that states are not born from life and love, but from calculation and the will to death. Here, the ancient bonds of peoples, their languages, customs, and sense of good and evil are twisted into lies, conflated and confused. So the state may claim, "I am the people," yet be none of these things. Nietzsche writes,
"A state is called the coldest of all cold monsters. Coldly lieth it also, and this lie creepeth from its mouth. I, the state, am the people. It is a lie."
This sentence strikes hard because it inverts the trust we place in governance. Rather than embodying the will of a people, the state presents itself as a species of vampire feeding on the living flesh of human cultures. What Nietzsche means here is something profound. The state is not a warm community or a living organism, but a monstrous abstraction that suffocates the diverse, passionate, and creative forces that give life its meaning. This coldness extends to its very nature. Its lie acts as a mask covering over the true violence it enacts. By insisting it is the people, it erases individuality, cultural particularity, and the deep languages of moral distinction that are unique to each community. Instead, it preys on the many too many, the countless superfluous lives produced by modernity, and devours them like a beast with stolen teeth. This imagery of the state as a cold, devouring monster is striking because it calls to mind modern bureaucracies, where faceless systems govern by rule and regulation, indifferent to the uniqueness of individual lives. Nietzsche's metaphor suggests something more sinister than mere bureaucracy, a slow death, a kind of societal suicide by conformity and leveling, the state's claim of divine authority. "I am the regulating finger of God," becomes, in Nietzsche's eyes, a grotesque parody. The same lies hypnotize great souls and conquerors of the old God, inviting even the strongest minds into worship of this new idol. Here, then, lies a twist worth pausing on. The new idol is not merely a political apparatus, but a temptation for the powerful, a trap for heroes who grow weary and desire new meaning. The state promises them virtue, honor, and control, but offers instead only a death horse jingling with the trappings of divine honors. What appears as life and community is, in truth, a slow suicide. Nietzsche continues,
"The state, I call it, where all are poison drinkers, the good and the bad. The state where all lose themselves, the good and the bad. The state where the slow suicide of all is called life."
This passage intensifies his critique by framing modern state life as collective poisoning, a shared descent into meaninglessness under a false ideology. Both the virtuous and the vicious are subsumed, indistinguishable, in this state of systematic decay. Beneath this fierce condemnation lies Nietzsche's core conviction that life must be an individual creation, a song of necessary ones, those irreplaceable beings who rise beyond mere survival and herd mentality. The superfluous masses consume culture, yet contribute nothing, becoming sick imitators of true wisdom. This is where Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, or Superman, appears implicitly. Beyond the state's cold embrace lies the possibility of creating new values and new ways of life. a cultural and spiritual horizon free from mass conformity. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, other chapters also emphasize the importance of escape from the herd and the rising of solitary creative individuals. But the new idol is uniquely dark because it diagnoses the state itself as an existential threat, a bad odor to be escaped, a furnace where human souls are sacrificed to false gods. What does this mean for us today? Consider how modern societies often measure success through accumulation of wealth, power, prestige. This mirrors Nietzsche's superfluous ones who clamber over one another, chasing false idols of happiness represented by political power or social status. The state, now entangled with capitalism and technology, can feel like the cold monster still, an entity that disciplines, restricts, and reduces individuals to statistics or consumers. It can drown out uniqueness with noise, dissolve complicated moral landscapes into simplified binary languages. The challenge remains to find space within or beyond the state, where one can remain a creator, a necessary individual, rather than a cog in the monstrous machine. And so this thought rests for today. The cold monster of the state is not simply a political critique, but a haunting invitation to reclaim life's warmth, to seek out the bridges to new values where the rainbow of the Superman might shine. If thoughts like these stay with you, subscribe to Dead Philosophers Society. It costs nothing, and it helps the old voices keep being heard. Thank you for being here today at Dead Philosophers Society. Until next time,